Another exclusive right here, Wrekk.tv, the one, the only K-Rino, South Park Coalition. What's going on today, man?
Chilling, man. Just glad to be here. Just glad to be here.
You know, before this, I was trying to get some questions together, and I was thinking, man, I done interviewed K-Rino thousands of times. I feel like, what we got to talk about? Turns out that list, quite interesting. We do have some interesting things to discuss. First off, right, I'm trying to get together a roundtable discussion, if so be, about battle rap, right? Some would say you're a god of battle rap of your time, right? I also know Hollow the Don, and I've been talking with him. He kind of started in the flea markets back in '99. I had a spot, but we talk on Instagram, and we're trying. He said he might be available next weekend. We'll see what your scheduling is, but we get him in on Zoom and have this epic discussion about battle rap, you know? Like,
that'd be cool.
What if you were a battle rapper in this day and time, right? Everybody has a camera in their pocket, right? How it would change the scope of how you battle rapped, right? As if compared to your days at Sterling when no one even had a camera.
Right.
So it becomes more lore and people have all these stories, whereas now everything's so documented, right? But yes, I want to let you know the update on that, and hopefully Nigel, man, he's going to make that happen maybe next weekend. So I wanted to bring that up. Your books, you have 2 out now. One, Life, Lyrics, and Lessons.
Life Lessons and Lyrics.
I have not read that yet, but I will. The other one, Biopic, I read that immediately as I got it. And one of the things you talk about, and I've brought up in other interviews, is how you state that rapping, you kind of hung it up, correct me if I'm wrong, and went to work a 9 to 5, and you got on the internet, and you saw this fan base you never even knew existed.
Right.
And surmise to say that the internet saved K-Rino, right? Where would we be, say you never discovered the internet, would have you stopped, you know what I'm saying? Do we really say, if not for the internet, we might not have K-Rino? Is that a fair assessment?
Well, maybe it would have come later in a different way. So you did read Life Lessons and Lyrics. That's the first book.
I'm sorry. Yes.
So behind these bars are the second book.
Yes.
Yeah. It may have happened later on, but in a different way. What happened with me at that time is that I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I mean, I just transition over into just doing the regular 9 to 5 thing. But a friend of mine, my homie Hella Tight, rest in peace, he hit me and he was like, man, they always mentioning you on these message boards. And I was like, what's a message board? You know, like, what is that? And he directed me to the sites, and I would read these comments, man, and people would just be talking about, just showing me love. And that just served as a motivation. It made me like, you know what? Maybe I do need to give it another shot. And I still didn't jump right back in it until I got laid off the job. You know, once I got laid off, then I was like, well, you know, let's get back in it 2 feet in, and that's why I jumped in it. Now, had it not been for that, I can't honestly say that I would have never came back. But like I said, I probably might have come back just through a different door.
But definitely worth a bookmark, if you would say, or catalyst in your career when the internet came in. Right on time.
No doubt, because before that point, everything was just based around what you were able to reach out and touch right in front of you within your reach, or the telephone. You know, like, because when you put your albums out, you would put your information on the CD or on the cassette, and fans would either call in to the record company, or they would send actual physical letters in envelopes, you know, like in the old days, and you open up legitimate fan mail and be like, oh, this guy's in Australia, oh, this guy's in Mississippi. So the internet just gave that kind of access, at the click of a mouse because that person in Indiana could just send, and then you reading this stuff instantly. So it just opened up the whole world, and we luckily we took advantage of it.
Right. And I love pointing it out because just being the devil's advocate, because some say, you know, the internet came and destroyed people's music careers, you know what I'm saying, with the MP3 and file sharing. Or there are other artists, man, they embraced it and wrote it and to new levels of success. And I feel you're one of them, right?
Well, I think, and that's the key, what you said, it's all based around how you received it. The people who looked at it like, oh man, this is bad, I'm not fitting this technology, I like it the old way, then a lot of those cats got swallowed up. It was like, because you didn't want to grow with the game. But the people who received it was like, nah, you know what? This thing ain't going nowhere. This is the new wave. I better jump on it and learn it as much as I can. Because I didn't learn it in the beginning. It took me a while. It took me some years to kind of get internet savvy on the most basic level, you know. And but once I just got the basics down, then it was like, okay, you know what? I need to be a part of this because, again, the immediate access that it gave you to the whole world. And that was my thing. It's like, man, now somebody in Germany can hit me. Now this person, and you could actually send songs. Let me send this guy a song. Compared to how would we do features with people in other states and stuff before this was happening? It was you had to travel out there and do it.
Right.
You know, and in rare cases, people would send the master. But that don't happen except for on major labels a lot of times. So,
So talk about riding that wave. You still are. For instance, if you don't know, now you know. You need to get on K-Rino's own YouTube channel where you personally vlog almost daily, right?
Yeah,
Would you say on the schedule?
Yeah. You know, I try to be consistent with it. You know, you try to do it 2 or 3 times a day. I remember when I first was getting into it, getting interested in it. And I had Willie D on my radio show, and after he did the interview, he was like, man, come on, let's go hang out. We went to Papacito's somewhere, and I was asking him, because he had his going, like he still has it going, and he was just telling me, man, the key is you got to be consistent, because once people get used to seeing you posting content, you don't want to get them expecting, and then you come up missing for 8 days, or you don't post for 2 weeks. So you want to at least have people be able to depend on you putting some content up. So that's been my thought ever since. I try to put at least 2 or 3 videos up a day.
Right, man. Willie D Live too. If you've not checked that out, do that now. I watch both.
Yeah.
Right, they're great. Yours and Willie.
No
you know,
question.
I watch all the time. I want to revisit, we did a epic interview, right, about the 7-album project, and then you did a 4-album project, right? And I love bringing this up because there's a commonality happening here. I seem to document people who do volumes of work. Case in point, Viper the rapper. And another gentleman, I don't know if you've met him, D-Note 45. He's an Iranian rapper. You might have met him, might have not. But he too, which I'm documenting, basically when I stopped the flea market, he learned how to build computers himself just to record himself in the same fashion. And he's got CD after CD after hard drive, stacks of hard drive.
Right.
Just he's never really put out any of this stuff like Viper has.
Right.
It's interesting to me, people that work in such volume, right? Let alone yourself, like the 7-album, right? And like Viper said in the interview, he was up maybe doing 10 albums a day, right? He would just have the keyboard going, the beat going, do the song, and then next. Like, same thing, next, just to accomplish such volume, right? So, I want to go into maybe a rabbit hole of back when you're doing such volumes yourself. Like, the moment you get the beat to while you're writing it, like one song or one chapter, I like to call it that. How long, if you could remember, would that take you? A day?
Yeah.
15 minutes?
It depends on the type of song it is. You know, some songs are more complex and more detailed than other songs, and they take a little longer. Other songs are a little more on the surface, and you can knock those out a little quicker. But the main element is what you set your mind to do. If I set my mind, if I wake up and say I'm writing 3 songs today, I'm gonna write 3 songs today. You know, and regardless, it may take all day, but I'm gonna write those 3 songs. But you know, the key is no song has a set template in terms of time and all that, because one song I may be speaking on some on a topic that required 2 or 3 months of research just to write, and it may be a long lyrical track or something that with no hooks in it, you know, 3 or 4 pages long. Then the next one may be something that's real simple, and so it's all over the place. But you know, at the end of the day, it's about putting in the dedication, putting in the time, and whatever song you write, the key is the quality of it. You know, not necessarily the quantity and how many you're doing. The key is making sure that it's loaded when people listen to it and say, this is quality.
But still, I want to emphasize, to do such volumes, would you say some of these recordings of your verse, they're like one takes?
Very rare. It's really rare that I do a one take on a whole song. Now, a lot of times if I do a verse, a feature for somebody, then I might go in there and knock it out in one take. But with my own projects, you're talking about, again, so much intricately detailed stuff. And a lot of times I make the mistake, as I mentioned in my second book, I make the mistake of writing a lot of times and neglecting to put parts in there where you could actually breathe when you're writing. So I might have to stop and punch in or whatever the case might be. So it won't be too many one takes on my albums, because, and also I'm my own worst critic, cause if I do the one take, I'll listen and go, nah, I gotta do that again. And people are like, what's wrong with that? It's like, nah, it's not right. So, you know, it's very rare when I would do one take on my project. Another question brought to mind, I don't think I've ever asked you. Longhand or cursive when you're writing? Nah, I haven't written in cursive in so long, I forgot how to do it. I don't remember how to do it. I don't think I've written in cursive since I was in school. You know,
right? But there's never a point when you were writing raps that you try to embrace cursive.
No,
and the reason I pointed out, I'm sorry to interrupt, because cursive is more inducive to collecting your thoughts faster. That's why I'm curious. Yeah.
Now, if you go back, you know, of course, anybody who knows me, they know that I still have every rap I ever wrote. All my old lyrics back from the '80s when I was in school, and there's some of my raps in my very first rap notebook that are in cursive, maybe a couple of them, you know. So I kind of was on that early, but I got out of it quick for whatever reason. But I can probably find you 2 or 3 that I may have written in cursive. But man, I tried to write in cursive about a year ago, just seeing if I could do it. I can't do it no more.
We learned it, but it might have been a wasted skill, you know, because the type came out on the computer.
I never understood what the purpose of it was anyway. I get, you know, because even when you do a signature now, the signature is more like an autograph where it's not even legible, because you don't want people to be able to duplicate your signature. So I mean, looking back on it, maybe I need to study what the whole purpose of making us write in cursive was in the first.
Maybe the dexterity you learn, you know, like painting or drawing, you know. I don't know. Might be an argument for it. Some form of
aesthetic.
Now you just need to learn how to type.
Yeah, right, right.
I do want to talk about the books.
Yeah.
Right, the first and the second, which the second one I have not read that. But yes, please talk about the process of both, like, and what you learned from writing the first one to the second one. Yeah,
well, you know, they're 2 different books, 2 different types of books. The first one is more, like you say, a life story mixed in with my marriage to music at the same time. The second book is basically describing certain songs that I've written over the years and why I wrote it. What was I thinking when I wrote it? the actual breakdown in the construction of certain bars and certain songs, just all the way down to the details, explaining and showing in the book how I put syllables together, and it's real detail. It's I refer to that book more as a teaching tool to learn how to write in certain ways, you know, for people to kind of, you can actually look at that book if you're a rapper, but even if you're not a rapper, but more so if you are, you can read that book and get a full kind of understanding of, okay, this is how he puts bars together, and it can help you do the same thing, you know, because if you listen to something sometimes, it's like, you can listen to a rap, you can listen to a verse, and you can go, okay, yeah, I'm hearing what he did, but to actually read it and see how it was constructed, somebody who has a strong interest in the building process of a written work, I think that's something that they would enjoy just watching, you know, especially, you know, the way I write, you know, I'm not a cat in a hat type of writer, so my real complex stuff, I think people would get a kick out of that, seeing how it got put together.
I do want to switch gears now on the, you know, your videos you're making and the visuals you're going back and doing some of the older songs, and I had the privilege to cameo in The Meeting, right?
That's right.
Shout out to Drastico, Boss Lady J,
right.
And Top Dog. I guess he was the guy with the office.
He gave us his facility to use, man. You know, he's not Top Dog anymore. You know, he's giving his life over to God, which, you know, is a beautiful thing.
Right.
And he doesn't even revert back to his old days, but yeah, he allowed us to use his office to do the video, and it was cool. Everybody, all y'all did a great job.
Right. It was a privilege, let alone an honor. I did recently also interview rapper K. I don't know if you got a chance to see that.
I saw it.
And one of the little highlights was, and I thought it was so interesting, because I've observed this so many years. Him being your hype man, right?
Yeah.
Him knowing your lyrics to all of these songs, right? And he said something in the interview, right?
Yeah.
That he possibly knows even more lyrics than you do, and I want to talk about that.
Well, I mean, because as crazy as it sounds, I don't really listen to my own music that much at all. You know, I hear so much in the creative process that by the time I write it, rehearse it over and over again, record it however many times, listen back to it, make sure it's right. By the time I go through that, when it's done, I listen to it one good time to make sure everything is straight, and I may not listen to it for months and months, you know. So he listens more as a I don't want to say a fan, but he listens more as in that light, like he just jamming the album. For me, it's like, man, I made this stuff, I'm tired of listening to it. And so, you know, so I get that, it's understandable, and it helps me, you know, because he'll tell you, it's been times I call him and be like, hey man, what's that song, man? You know, something like that, you know, like food is your own song.
Right.
But but it's cool though, it's cool because what it also does for me, by me not listening to my music a lot, when I do listen to it, I get a chance to absorb it as from the perspective of being on the outside looking in.
Right.
Because I literally don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm listening to the song like it's new to me, like what am I gonna say? And it gives me an honest assessment of it, because I can go like, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty good, or I can go, you know. So I kind of like that I'm like that, but but on the same token, I do wish that I was more familiar with my own stuff sometimes.
Well, it illustrates a great point, and that is about being an artist, whether you're a painter or a dancer, a rapper, singer, right? It is so easy to fall off into these rabbit holes, I like to call it, where it's just not good enough, right? It can never be polished enough to be what we call a finished product and push it out to the masses. Whereas having that ability and that self-confidence to say, this is good enough.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Right.
Move to the next, right?
Right.
And again, which enables you to do such volumes and quantity that we are so privileged to have from you as an artist, right? As Prince, as all these others, it's such huge plethoras of work that they would say, this is good enough, let's move on.
Yeah.
Next. What about that song you did last year? I don't remember it, right? Because I'm so busy in the moment now. I want to keep going, you know? Life is... Donnie Houston interviewed Chucky Trilla last Monday.
Yeah, man. Crazy, man. Insane.
Life is so short, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's do it now. Let's move to the next. I am guilty of this, you know, getting out of the way of myself, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Well, see, that's how Pac was, though, you know.
Right.
Pac was just Pac. I'm recording for now. Let's get all this stuff out. And that's an interesting point because my buddy, man, I cannot remember how he described this, but my homie Jeremy Mincey used to play in the NFL. And,
yes.
He came to town one year, and we went to the studio and was working on some songs. And I wrote one song, one verse, and then he had some other stuff, and I just moved that to the side and he described that like almost like what to compartmentalize, to like, in this moment I'm only focused on this verse. But once this verse is done, while I'm doing this verse, I'm giving it full attention, but once it's done, it no longer exists. It's on to this one now. I'm not thinking back at how cold that one was. And I forgot the term he used, but it fit perfectly because that's what you got to do. The artist you name, whether it be a Stevie Wonder, whether it be a Prince, whether it be Zero, whether it be like say Viper, whoever, I'm assuming that these individuals, they compartmentalize this one, do it, done. This one, do it, done. It's almost like an assembly line mentality,
right?
You know, on to the next. So, and that does help you to just stack up more material because you're not sitting around digging yourself about that one song you made over and over again. You go on to the next.
I'm glad you brought up Mincey because I had forgot about this in my notes. That I don't think it's mentioned. I show this to so many people. Like, man, this is cool. I didn't know he did this. EA Sports. You did, I guess, a sample for them. It's on the YouTube, but now I'll link it in the description. But talk a little bit about that little project you did with EA.
Yeah. Well, this is what happened. Another buddy of mine used to play in the NFL, my homie Sean Coffey. When me and him got cool, he would always try to plug me in to just little situations and like, man, you can do this, you can do this. You know, he was always looking out for me. So he had a tie-in to EA Sports because he was one of the guys that used to do the what do they call it, where they take the actual athlete and put him in the suit to do like the motion
capture,
the motion caption for the video game. Right. He was one of those guys. So he was like, man, you should make a song for him. So the song was not anything official. It was just a song created to actually pitch to them to see if they might want to mess with it, you know, break some bread. But unfortunately, they didn't want to, for whatever reason, they didn't want to use it. But I was still glad I made it because, you know, it's a song that I was proud of because of the way we did it, the way I laid it out, you know. So they didn't like that. That's their problem, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still glad that I made it though.
Me too, we all are. And I'm telling you now, if you don't know, if you're watching this and you're a K-Rino fan, stop this video, go to YouTube and look up K-Rino EA Sports and be amazed. I think you did 2 different versions?
Well, no, I did one version and then we made my homie Codeine put a video together because I think what happened for a lot of people that heard it, they didn't realize actually what I was doing. It's like what I was talking about with the book. Right. You can hear something, but if you see exactly what's going on, accompanied by hearing it, it helps out. So in the song about EA, which stands for, I think, stands for electronic arts. I think
Right.
that's what they're. But I just took the EA and made it stand for something different in every
Right.
bar of the song, you know. But on the video, because if you didn't catch it listening to it on the video, you'll see EA just emphasizing the words of everything I'm saying with the EA. So, yeah.
Amazing, man, amazing. Which brings us to the subject of sports, right? Me and you have talked about maybe a podcast, the box score. Yes, definitely interested in that because me and you are huge sports fanatics. And we was talking about the fantasy league, the belt over here. Did you play sports in high school, and which ones?
Yeah, no, I tried out for football in the 9th grade. I didn't make the team. I got cut. I never played basketball in school because I really couldn't play basketball when I was that young. When I was 14, 15, I really couldn't play basketball, even though I played in the hood, but I wasn't that good at it. I didn't really get decent at hooping until my late teen year, 19, 20 years old. That's when I started to kind of get a little bit decent at it because I started just working on it. But I've been a hood hooper all my life, played football growing up all my life. I thought that I was going to be a football player early on growing up because I love football. Football is my first love, but once I got cut from the team in the 9th grade, I just shifted all my focus over to music, and I didn't look back after that.
I'm curious, what side of the ball?
I was playing wide receiver.
Offense, right? Defense. Yeah, that would have been nice.
But I was, but you know, I'm skinny. I always been skinny, but I was shorter at the time. I was, you know, if I was taller, I might have had a chance. But my tryout was good, but the coach was just like, man, you just too little. What he actually did, because a lot of the guys that went to middle school with me, they played football in middle school, and they came and they were automatically on the team in high school. But he actually did this. He'd say, son, you caught everything they threw to you. He said, but look at you. He said, and look at them guys over there. And all them guys, they were bigger and, you know, they were developing. And then I was just a little bit, and I remember just being like, you know, so what? You know, I mean, you know, you just said I caught it. You know, that doesn't mean nothing. But in his mind, he just equated having some size to being able to, you know. But I mean, it was the best thing for me because, you know, like I say, it made me focus on music 100% after that. I think I was a trainer for like a week or two. You know, and I found myself like, man, you know, we always crack jokes about the water, get the dude who the water boy, and I'm not finna be that dude. So I thought if I was sitting aside, I'm like, man, I'm not finna be the dude that just wiping the face with the towel and here's your water. Nah, that ain't me. So I burnt off, man.
Right, I was a trainer senior year at Milby for the varsity basketball team, man, but boy, I sure learned a lot about mechanics and basketball, X and O's, so. Yeah. Right, but yeah, I sure wanted to be on the team though.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I did too, man. Like I say, football was my sport, man, and I knew I was good. I knew I was good. I knew I could have did something, but you know, it took that love away because, you know, the coach didn't see what I saw in myself, you know, and I didn't have any control. I couldn't make him put me on the team, but you know, when I started doing music, I had the same passion that I had when I was playing ball. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to take this energy and transfer it over and go full blast with this rap thing, which people actually were saying at that time, well, this is not going to last long. This is a fad. We talking about 85, 86, you know, it's like, you know, do it while you can because in a few years, it's not going to be around and we're going to be doing something else.
Right.
But they was wrong, of course.
We're talking about sports, high school football, music, you hooping. What a better time to bring up George Floyd, I think.
Yeah.
And like me personally, he played Yates football. He was a tight end, I think in '93. I played Milby football, some tight end, but mostly defensive end. In '94, that's 5A football. Yates was in our division. So, I mean, I may be embellishing a little bit, but I was 1 year removed from being across the field from this man.
Right.
And I remember when it happened, you made a video and you said that you actually used to hoop with George Floyd.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we ran into each other like in leagues. You know, we played in these little rec leagues here and there.
At Fondy?
No, not at Fondy, just different places. Mainly the YMCA on Will in 3rd Ward.
Okay.
Emancipation Park. And just we run into each other, just different little hoop spots, whatever. Then sometime every now and then on the street. We wasn't like buddies or hanging out or nothing like that, but we was cool.
By chance, was Willie Bird in any of these leagues?
Oh yeah, Willie Bird, that's my guy, man.
Yeah, I know what Y you're referring to now. Yes, yes.
Willie Bird, that's my dude to this day, man. You know what I'm saying?
So Willie Bird might have hooped with George too.
I'm certainly did. I'm certainly
these circles of basketball hoopers go in Houston, right?
And that's the key. The circles of basketball. Even though I don't consider myself to be no elite basketball player, but just over the years, I have played ball so much to where I played against, like say Willie Bird and Dwayne Rogers and Trey Moore and, you know, guys who everybody knows, you know what I'm saying? I played against all those guys. But so I know that Bird definitely probably played against Big Floyd, you know. And but it's funny because I tell people all the time, my main memory of Floyd, I just call him by his name, Floyd. I never knew his name was George Floyd until after the situation happened. I thought his first name was Floyd. But he got dunked on, man, by this dude named Michael St. Julien. And Michael St. Julien.
It's a breakaway dunk, or is he?
It was just kind of, just kind of a little incidental situation, like
right.
You know. Just you kind of turn around into it, but for people who don't know, Michael St. Julien, man, at that time jumped out the stadium. You know, this dude jumped so high, and George jumped up with him, man, and tried to get up there with George, a big guy. You know what I'm saying? And Mike just kept going up, and he smashed it so hard that you know how the whole gym just erupt like that. You know what I'm saying? But I always look at stuff like that differently because in my mind I'm like, okay, now he knew who Mike St. Julien was, so it take a special kind of person to even go. Because the average person, I'm just gonna let him just go up and dunk, but he went up and contested that dunk, man. You know, and I always thought about stuff like that because you know you play ball long enough, you're gonna get dunked on. I've been dunked on several times in my in my career, but
luckily there are no cameras involved.
No, it's no documented footage of me getting dunked on, but I don't have no shame and tell you I've been got a handful of times in my lifetime, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, the reason why I respected that with George Floyd because he jumped. You know, he tried to contest it, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, I would try to contest it too. He'd have got me too, you know what I'm saying? Just especially in my younger days because I like to block shots. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna try. But this dude jumped so high that he would have got anybody that day.
Well, come on, man. Tell me about the skill set on George Floyd. He had a little 18-footer. He was inside only.
I don't remember.
Power player.
You know, I know he
had a handle.
I know he was strong. You know, he was big and strong. I can't recall a lot of what he did best because, like I say, we only come across each other in passing here and now. We didn't play a lot against each other. But he was a big, strong brother. You know. Yeah.
Right, man. It's always fascinating, man. Talk about people in sports, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like I was talking to Filetto, now boxing.
Yeah.
Which is based on his athletic background that I didn't know about. In school, he was a baseball player, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you know this, like Matt Grace in the Donnie Houston interview, not Matt Grace, Los, his brother, right? But talked about his brother's baseball career. I don't know if you know about that. They were baseball prodigy.
But you know, Los is an athlete. You know, Los plays football. Los got sons that play football right now that are good. You know, so it's like those athletic genes, they are hereditary. You know, and it's amazing to watch how you see one generation that they getting down, then you see their children getting down, which means that their parents before them must have got down on something. Like my dad played wide receiver. You know?
Really?
Yeah, he played football. He played college ball at HBCU. So
Wow.
the thing is, you look back at it and say, okay, it got to come from somewhere. You got to get it from somewhere. So that's what it is.
Man, again, it was such an honor, man. It's always to get you in the chair.
Man, I appreciate you, Doug. You know how we do it.
But definitely want to talk about future projects. I'm sure you got some albums on the horizon, other endeavors.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I'm working on 2 albums right now. And I did a live stream on YouTube. I think the last one I did, I was just kind of doing a little poll with the audience, and I was asking them, do they want me to drop them at the same time or put a little space in between them? And it got like a pretty much even mixture of responses. Some people was like, man, give them both to us. Some people were like, nah, drop them a month apart, 2 months. Somebody said 6 months. I'm like, 6 is too long. But yeah, I got 2 albums coming probably by May. The first one to drop, and I think I will wait a month and then put out the next one.
Will you be shooting any videos to any of these songs?
Oh, well, maybe I can't say to the new stuff because a lot of it haven't even been created yet. But definitely, I'm gonna continue to go back into the archives and do some older stuff. You know, I already got some ideas in mind for some of the things I want to do. You know, and I think the fans, they like that. You know, because the songs that they was listening to. It could be 10, 12 years old, 8, 9 years old, and they have been wanting to see a video to that. So, and a lot of people, it's funny that we're doing that now because a lot of people are doing, a lot of artists are doing that now. They're going back doing videos from songs they did 20 years ago. I saw Nice and Smooth did a video from a song they did back in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? And the stuff like that is cool to me. I like that.
I already talked to rapper K, man. Maybe doing that South Park.
Yeah, why not?
Video, man. Tropicana Village is right there, man. That's in my literally backyard. I love to shoot that video.
See, and then when you do when you got timeless material, it's no timestamp on it, so you can just do the video, just do it, you know. And see, we did Point Blank song "Slip Into a Coma" a few months back, you know, and that song was 25 years old. Right. You know, so the people like to get that sense of they like to go in a time machine and that nostalgia, and because it puts them back where they was when that album was popping, when that song was out. So, you know, I recommend that to a lot of. I love to see a lot of the H-Town artists go back and do videos to older songs, even if they did a video to it then. It'd be cool to see Kiki do a video to Southside in 2021.
Right, man.
Something like that. Face do a video to something he did back in the day. I mean, that'd be cool, you know. So hopefully that'll be a trend that'll catch on, man, because it would really be something I know that the people would love. They'll get behind that.
I mean, it's almost literally a pot of gold at the rainbow, right? Yeah. You've already taken the time and how it's creative and visual, right. You know, being the wordsmith you are, right? And now to flesh it out, right? Yeah. To really paint this picture. What was in your head at the time when you wrote this song?
It represents unfinished business in a lot of ways because some songs at the time you might have had it in your mind to do a video, you just didn't do it, you know? And I know me personally, I wasn't really into videos 10, 12, 15. I may have 2 or 3 videos that you can dig up from the early 2000s to mid 2000s. But other than that, you know, I'm doing more videos now than I did back then. So you go back and pull them old songs and redo them and create a visual to them. People like that.
Yeah, I see when we did the Don't Stop video, the Spielberg came out in a K-Rino, like you like directing, you like getting behind the camera. And,
that's another thing. I've been directing a lot of video. Like once I let Blank know I was directing, Blank put me right to work. You know, it was like I did the Slip Into Coma. I did the one they just did called Hate Is the New Love. I directed that with PSK and Ice Lord. And one of Blank's artists, CJ the Gov, I directed his latest video that had Mo 3 in the video, you know. So it's like I've been getting down on my little directing blast because I was directing my own all that time. I just wasn't thinking about it under that title. But that's all I was doing anyway, you know. And I create the scripts, the treatments for it.
Well, again, man, it's a privilege, honor. Right. Hopefully come back soon, man.
Anytime, man. You know what it is.
Right. Maybe I get on, we'll do a segment on your podcast, maybe. You know, I'm trying to.
Hey, no doubt, man. No doubt,
some sports-related stuff. I mean, you go forever on some sports.
Man, you know.
Right.
Rockets, man. We still riding with y'all, man. Straight up.
We got to get Christian Wood back healthy. What a diamond in the rough. Six years in the league, sixth team. Right. Didn't get drafted. Right. His girlfriend left him, I hear. Wow. Did you hear that story?
No, I didn't hear that story.
He didn't get drafted. His girlfriend bounced.
I know she tried to come back now.
What a story, right? Yeah. Man, wow. He is, what a package of skills this young man has. Can't wait to see him play again, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
No doubt.
Well, again, man, thanks for coming, man. Wrekk.TV, K-Rino.
Yeah.